I got to live out my Avatar fantasy because today I became Na'vi. I am a child of Pandora, but I was raised by humans, and it has been years since the legend Jake Sully became Taruk Makto and saved our world. But the humans are back, led by the most ruthless person Pandora has ever seen. And now, he wants to suck this planet dry, leaving death and destruction in his wake. I have 100 days to end his conquest before Pandora is lost for good. But it will not be easy. The RDA has some serious firepower, and after a mysterious tragedy to one clan, the other clans stop working together. I'll have to learn the Na'vi ways.
This is so neat.
Master human and Na'vi weapons.
Oh, a shotgun.
Yeah, this thing is insane. Holy crap! And prove my worth to bond with an Ikran. Nice! Yes! Let's go! All in order to build enough trust to reunite the clans of Pandora and take down John Mercer once and for all. This is Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and it's the best chance you'll get to live out your Avatar fantasy. Here we go. Many years ago, when humans reached Pandora, they formed an ambassador program, TAP, meant to build relationships between the humans and the Na'vi. My journey started as a young Na'vi in this program. Our teacher, Elma, was in the middle of a lesson when the leader of the program, John Mercer, interrupted us. And this guy, well, he's a total jerk-off. First, he tries convincing us that our clan abandoned us, but I don't buy that. Then, he got mad at me for having my song cord out of my room. It's the only thing I have to remember my tribe. And when my sister, Ahadi, tried to stop him, he punished us by withholding our dinner.
No dinner for any of you.
Director Mercer, sir!
That night, we all came to the realization that we are actually prisoners, and we have had enough. It was time to escape. But somehow, Mercer knew our plan, and he caught us in the act. Ahadi refused to go quietly, and as she tried to lead us to freedom, John Mercer showed his true nature. Years have passed, and we remained prisoners in this place. But word has spread of the legendary Taruk Makto and an uprising against the RDA.
Lost Pandora. Some Avatar driver named Jake Sully went full native, turned the Na'vi on us. That's why you can't trust any of them.
Mercer reveals someone named Jake Sully has led the charge, and the humans are being evacuated off of Pandora. John Mercer sends Elma away to be evacuated, but leaves us here to die. Pretty sure we could just jump them. Hey, it's Elma. She's back. Don't throw the gun. Keep the gun. What are you doing?
We've got this one chance! Come on!
But Elma knows better. She is one of the good ones. She returns to help us escape. We hid in cryo chambers and put our fate in her hands. What is happening right now? Oh, I did not know I get to do this. Actually looks kind of awkward with clothes on. I don't really care too much about the face. We'll just pick the basic one. Hair, though. Let's see what we got for hair. Not a ton of options. And a bioluminescent pattern. Oh, the dots on my skin? Can barely tell. That's cool, though. We'll go with that one. I like that one. Good enough for me. After spending some time rediscovering my identity, I woke up in the abandoned RDA facility with my clanmates, Nor, Teylan, and Ritnella, who also made it out alive. We are the Sarentu, a Na'vi tribe thought to be lost to the world. I was welcomed by my fellow Na'vi warriors as we prepared to make our escape once and for all. After being in cryo for some time, I was hungry. I found myself some food to replenish my energy, and then I attempted to escape. But Mercer was back, hunting us down. I sprinted through the corridor, climbed through the vents, and eventually rendezvoused with Sotlek. I was nearing my escape when Mercer caught me. But Sotlek was there to buy me enough time to keep moving. I found my way, and I made it to freedom. Free at last, free at last. Damn, it's beautiful. Hoping that Sotlek wasn't dead, I went to search for him, and I found him injured, but alive. He gave me his bow because he was too badly injured to take down the nearby RDA, but as a prisoner my whole life, my skills and knowledge of this world are limited. So that guided me through reconnecting with my roots. He taught me about my Na'vi senses, which helped me navigate this world. Then, a botany lesson. He told me about resources I can use to craft arrows. After that, Dapofet pods, which I can use to heal him and myself. There was some RDA near the pods that I needed to collect, and I was faced with my first encounter as a free soul. Then, I let them know how I really feel about the RDA. I grabbed the pods and then headed back. But there were more RDA when I got there. I had to take them down in order to get back to Sotlek.
Okay, that looks like a weak spot. Alright, that didn't do much. Oh, can I break this glass? I can! That was sick! Go to sleep. Go to sleep. And go to sleep. Go to sleep. What the? Oh, terrible. Come on. There it is.
Once he was back on his feet, I asked him what I should do next, because I had no direction. He told me I had to find my own path in this world. He suggested I join the resistance and fight alongside the humans who are trying to take down the RDA. But he cautioned me and reminded me that even though we have the same enemy, we are still not the same. It was up to me. I was free, and the path was mine to choose. He gave me the location of the resistance headquarters, and I decided to make my way there, hoping to reconnect with my clanmates. Sotlek was there waiting for me, and we entered the complex. I was glad to see the others alive and well. Elma had something to discuss, however. I learned that we had all been in the cryo chamber for 16 years. This was a lot to take in. Elma offered this to be my home, but suggested I take some time to take it all in. Teylan seems to be quite at home with the humans. He was always the most loyal to the RDA and defended it when we knew what it truly was. I looked around the resistance to see what they had to offer, but I didn't have much to offer in return, so I couldn't get much other than the gifts that they presented me with, like this handy device called Sid, for, hacking and stuff. I had a lot to learn about this world. One of those things was how to harvest, but this wasn't the punching or chopping violent method that humans use. We, Na'vi, have a gentle touch.
This is so neat.
I met up with Sarentu clanmates to talk about all that has been going on. We discussed if it's best to be on our own or to continue working with the humans to take down the RDA. Teylan, as usual, is very much on the side of working with the humans. He continues to be the most comfortable in their world. Nor is the complete opposite. He's hesitant to join them and truly wishes to embrace the Na'vi way. Ritnella and myself, on the other hand, are both optimistic about working with the humans. Back at the Resistance HQ, we briefed on our main mission. John Mercer has returned to Pandora as the man in charge, and he is on a conquest. The Resistance has struggled to reach out to other clans to help fight the RDA, but Elma believes we Sarentu, a once beloved clan, can bring all of the clans together to once and for all take down the RDA. Priya jumped in to warn us of a pollution spike nearby that was dangerously close to them finding us, so it became priority to shut it down. I volunteered. As I got closer and closer, I could see the pollution affecting the plants and the wildlife. I had to destroy the plant's generator and hack in and destroy its cooling unit. I equipped some explosive arrows and the limited gear I had to take on this army.
Oops, not what I wanted. Let's see how much damage these things do. Holy crap! That is so much stronger than I thought it was. Man, I need some more of these. These guys hit so hard. Alright, this should be the last one. Okay. That is super easy. I gotta hack this one too. No. Maybe I gotta shoot it. That looks like I gotta destroy it. Maybe back up first though. That's probably smart. Shoot this. The cursor's red, but it's not doing anything. Maybe I just wasn't hitting it. Let's give it another shot. Yep, I just suck.
After destroying the plant, the area instantly started seeing improvements. I could now actually harvest the wildlife here for resources. Just as I finished, Teylan reached out to tell me about some big flower. The others were there too, so I went to meet up with them. It took me a little bit to find my way, but gave me a moment to truly enjoy the spectacle of this beautiful world, especially at nighttime. The flower is on Sarentu grounds, and it's one of our people's ways to access Ewa. I connected with Ewa, and saw my ancestors who gave me advice on how to survive on Pandora, and helped me with a gift of flow, as he called it, but you probably know it as a double jump. Teylan continues to show his skepticism toward the Na'vi ways, but the rest of us are embracing it more and more. And hey, if I'm going to get new skills out of it too, I'm all for it. I improved my base damage and my base health to level up. I headed back to HQ to see what was next on the agenda. First I met with Priya. She told me about the pollution meter and how I can help take down more of those drill sites to help restore the land. Then I met back up with Sotlek. He gave me a new song chord and told me of the importance of building my own story in this world. Each song chord is a major life moment, and now that I am born anew, it is my story to tell. He gave me a new recipe that I could use to craft a bow, but I didn't have much for resources or even know how to do that. I was still getting used to my current inventory, and I made some upgrades and adjustments that were available to me. Nor is still hesitant about joining with the resistance, so I went out to see if I could find him. I used my Na'vi senses and skillful climbing to traverse these cliffs and track down Nor. I can't believe how good this looks. As I got the most beautiful view yet of Pandora, I spoke with Nor. He is slowly coming around to the idea of joining, but there was an attack at one of the resistance bases mid-conversation. Our conversation was put on hold and I raced toward the blast to help Elma and Sotlek. I took down a few RDA en route, but when I got there, the damage was done. Sotlek gave me a new weapon and told me to prepare for more incoming. I used the staff sling to lob grenades and set traps for the incoming RDA, and then proceeded to clear them out. I grabbed some medical supplies for Elma and also found myself a nice little upgrade of a weapon. Of course, growing up in the RDA, I was well familiar with human weapons, so I knew exactly what to do with this. I made it to Elma with the medical supplies, and we were approached by a Na'vi warrior on an Ikran. She was thrilled to see me, a Sarentu, in her presence. She, like many others, had thought the Sarentu were all gone. Our tribe was known as the storytellers and bringers of peace, and so many clans respected us and are very excited to see that we have not been lost for good. She introduces herself as a Tua, the Sahik of the Aranahe clan. She feels strongly that we must fight against the RDA, but her father, the clan leader, is hesitant to join the fight. A Tua invited me to come speak with him. She believes that me being a Sarentu will be able to convince him to help join the fight against the RDA. I made my way through the forest to home tree of the Aranahe clan. I was greeted with intrigue. More Na'vi excited to see Sarentu. Nafika offered their home as a refuge. She brought me inside and showed me around and helped me get settled in before I go speak with their leader. I spoke with Koranu, their best weaver, where I could get some better gear, but they required clan favor. I'd need to do stuff to help the clan before I could purchase anything. She did, however, give me a few gifts that I could use in crafting my own armor. I met with Raylun, who taught me a little about cooking and how I can combine ingredients to create something delicious and beneficial. Then I just spent some time familiarizing myself with Home Tree and some of the clan members to see if they had anything I could help with, so I could get myself some more clan favor. Before I was able to meet with Katnat, the clan leader, they wanted me to at least show I wasn't completely useless, so they sent me out on a hunt. I had to first track down my hunting guide, A2, who was already out on the hunt. I found him and his Ikran nearby. He started talking about the thrill of hunting with his Ikran, and I was pretty jealous. I know it's coming, but I want one now. He showed me how to respectfully hunt the wildlife, to appreciate them for what they offer. He then gifted me a longbow and set me out on my first hunt to track a stern beast. I picked up their trail with my Na'vi senses, and I made my approach. Unknowingly, I still had my regular bow equipped, and the stern beast hide was much too thick. They took off running, and I chased them down. A2 just told me about respectfully hunting these animals, but I couldn't help myself. I pulled out my assault rifle to blast through their thick hide, but what was left was unusable. I ruined the harvest. So, back to my bow. My hunting skills needed some serious practice. This poor stern beast suffered for a bit before I could put it out of its misery finally. Not a clean kill, nor was it merciful, but I could at least still use its meat. I got some hide and meat and then headed back to Home Tree to meet with Nafika. She showed me how to use ingredients to craft armor and weapons. The ingredients have a quality to them as well, so learning the ways of the Na'vi and how to properly harvest and properly hunt is going to be essential to getting the best weapons and armor. For now, I used my hide that I gathered to craft a slight upgrade, and then I went back to Raylun to cook up some food. Nafika then took me to see Katnat, the clan's leader. I asked him for his help to fight against the RDA, but as I was warned, he refused to bring war to his peaceful tribe. It's gonna take some more convincing before he agrees to fight. I made my way to the top of Home Tree to speak with Etua again. She began telling me about the king lore, the species that is protected by the Aranahe clan. But recently they have been troubled and threatened, and the clan isn't exactly sure what is causing their unnatural behavior. Another clan member interrupted, saying A2 was in trouble. A2 was my hunting guide, and A2 was needed here, so I offered to go out and search for him. She told me a few of the hunters regularly go out and fight the RDA, but they do it without Katnat's permission, so this rescue had to be kept quiet. I headed into the forest to search for A2. I ran into a camp of RDA soldiers, and then I took them down. Inside the cave, I did a little investigating. I was able to determine what happened. It appears they were trapped in this cave fighting the RDA when their bow broke and had no choice but to flee. I tracked Ikran sent out of the cave to find him, and I found Zome, A2's Ikran, but he was nowhere in sight. She was fighting for her life against the RDA, so I jumped in to try to save her. Once I cleared the area, I discovered A2 was trapped inside a dragon ship. I helped calm Zome down, and then I had to use Sid to bypass the circuits to open the door. Once I got inside, the door shut and trapped us both in here though. A2 was seriously worried about Zome. She was all by herself out there and still fighting. We had to hurry. I had to use Sid again to find us a way out of here just in time before we burned alive. But now, Zome was nowhere to be found. We had to track her down, but A2 was too injured. I went ahead to hurry to see if I could find Zome before it was too late. But when I found her, she was on her last breath. A2 said his goodbyes, and it was heartbreaking.
Let me carry your pain, Zome. Let me help you.
I left A2 to mourn in peace, and I headed back to Home Tree. But when I got back, I spoke with Katna again before returning to Etua. He was more receptive and apologetic for being so intense in our first meeting, but he is still very hesitant to join the fight against the RDA. Etua and Nafika were discussing what could be wrong with their king lore. Etua believes it to be the fault of the Sky People, but they must connect with the Queen to find out more. She says that because I am as much Sky People as I am Na'vi, she believes I will be able to fully connect with these king lore to see what is truly troubling them. But apparently these things are deadly or something? So first I need to gather Swamp Hive Nectar to revive myself after the ritual? Sounds super sketchy, but I didn't really have much choice. I checked my hunter's guide and I headed to the area where the Swamp Hive Nectar can be found. On the way I came across another poor stern beast with RDA technology lodged in its neck, leaving it to suffer. I helped the poor thing for some clan favor and continued my hunt. When I got to the area, it was heavily polluted, so I wasn't able to harvest any of the plants or wildlife. First, I need to take down the gas harvester Alpha in the Silk Woods. I headed that way and readied for an attack. Come on. Come on. Crap. Oh, where are they even hitting me from? Oh my god, why is this so hard? Alright, I'm gonna have to rethink this strategy. Maybe I should try going stealth. Try getting in from a different angle. If I can just get this thing. This is what's destroying me. I don't know how it doesn't see me right now. Don't turn this way. Nice. Now I should be good, I think.
he sees me. And I'm screwed. Oh, so much for stealth. Oh! Whoa! It's just sitting right here? What? Oh, now we're talking. I seriously just missed all my shots. Well, that was a waste. Can I reload here? No, can't reload there. This facility was no joke, and I was definitely underpowered for it. But with some persistence, I was able to clear the area. This facility had some decent loot, like these stagger rounds for my assault rifle, that have a strong stagger effect and a chance of adding a burn effect. I ran into fellow hunters on my way back who graciously gave me some superior meat, which was nice because I'm still lacking in my hunting skills, but I didn't need to shoot anything to get my swamp hive nectar. I found some, and I harvested it, and then I began to make my way toward Etua. They started the ritual, and I connected with the Kinglor Queen. Through our connection, I took the journey of the Queen, and I began to understand their troubles. The flowers that the Kinglor feed on have been closing because of energy blasts coming from these platforms in the sky of the RDA. The Kinglor led themselves to Hometree because the energy waves were disrupting their search for food. And now that Etua knows, she is enthusiastic about destroying those sky platforms in order to save their beloved Kinglor. But she says in order to do that, I'm gonna need an Ikran, and I fully agree. It was time. I headed to the base of the Ikran rookery to make the climb. Etu was there for support and to guide me through the process.
Hey, did I meet you before?
I guess not then. Ikran presented itself to me, but I could not make a bond. A2 reassured me that no self-respecting Ikran would accept the first attempt, so I continued up.
You're not helping.
You have to tell Nor. He'll love it.
Oh, this is so gorgeous. This is just like the movie. Is this it? Does it happen here? This thing wants to eat me. I got him. Nope, never mind. Okay, this has got to be it. I've been climbing this thing for like 10 minutes. This is it. This has got to be it.
It's okay. I won't hurt you.
I don't have to do anything else? I thought I was going to have to, like, do something to get it. Or am I going to have to fight this thing? No, that's it. We did it. Let's go. I get to name it, too. Floof? That is... Some of these names, though.
Hearts beating as one.
I named her Talisi, and then secured the bond with our first
Must secure
flight.
the bond with a final act of trust.
Take the first flight.
How do I...
Call for her! Call for your Ikran!
Call. Press A.
Aye, together!
Nice! Yes! Let's go! This is so cool. Oh my god.
Holy shit, this is awesome.
We did it, girl!
Oh,
You did it!
now we're talking. Look at this.
Thank
Oh my
you.
god, it's so
Thank you.
beautiful.
Okay.
I'm
let's
so happy
think.
right now.
Feel what to do. Can you go faster?
Oh my god. I spent some time getting used to her and testing her limits. A bit of exploring now that I could reach new heights. And I also did some bonding with Tbilisi.
You happy?
Any game that has tames of any kind needs to have this mechanic. This is so cool.
There you go, Tbilisi.
I don't know if I'm about to get into some aerial combat or what's in store for this upcoming fight, but I was pretty underpowered at this point, and I felt like my skills were lacking. I decided to see what other things this world has to offer, and what things I can do in order to level up before I meet with a Tua. Things like track down some of these bellsprig trees, which permanently increase your health. Me and Tbilisi headed to a small Aranahe camp in Shaded Grove to see if we could help track down a missing Aranahe hunter. All I found were some clues. I attempted to piece together the information that I could, and I was able to determine that she was losing a fight against a viper wolf. I tracked their scent through the forest and found her hiding and injured. She was trapped by viper wolves, but very unnatural ones. Not of Ewa, she says, faster and meaner than normal ones. Without a weapon, Vuan asked me to help eliminate them, so I got to work. It wasn't terrible, but I wouldn't want to fight these things without a weapon. And then before heading back, I had more powers to gather. I got a couple of ancestor skills. The soft landing to take less fall damage, drop impact so I can jump kick enemies in their face, and eject, which allows me to rip RDA from their mechs while stunned. And after feeling good about my upgrades, I flew back to Home Tree to speak with Vuan. As a thanks, she had some armor crafted for me by one of the clan's best weavers. It inspired me to continue searching for ways to further upgrade my weapons, armor, and skill set. You can purchase items using various RDA components from the Resistance bases, but I still didn't really know how to get those parts efficiently, and when it comes to buying goods from the Na'vi, I needed clan favor, and one of those ways to do that is clan contributions. You can contribute a variety of things, but if you bring the specific thing they are requesting, you gain an additional boost, so I went out to look for blaze fruit. The resource guide gives you the area where they grow, so me and Tbilisi went out that way to see if I could gather the fruit I needed. I came across a random weapons cache in the middle of nowhere, and I found a massive upgrade to my assault rifle. Really nice find. And then just up the way, I found what I needed. I returned to the camp to deliver the goods, and then tossed in a few more contributions to boost my clan favor even more. I went out to do another investigative quest to help with clan favor. I was tracking a human for a clan member named Nawuk. I applied my expert level investigative skills and found a tablet, which I could not access. So I had to return to Resistance HQ to see what was on it. Back there though, Nor greeted me when I walked in. It was good to see him there at HQ. He really seems to be coming around to the idea of joining the Resistance to help fight the RDA. I checked in with the others too, Ritnella and Teylan. Ritnella is adjusting well and really starting to embrace the Na'vi in her, and Teylan still struggles to let go of the past. He held on to Mercer's radio, which is a little concerning. It doesn't work or anything, but the fact that it gives him comfort says he's struggling to move on, and I'm a bit concerned for him. I found the person who the tablet belonged to finish the quest. Turns out, wasn't of anything important. Just a person jumping through hoops to try to hide a crush they had on someone else. Anyway, I learned that doing pollution quests gave me the RDA spare parts I could use for buying weapons and armor from the Resistance. I went out to attempt to clear one of the RDA plants. I continued trying to take on things well above my power level, and this is the result. I found an easier pump installation nearby, and I attempted to take that down instead. This one I was actually able to complete, but the rewards were nowhere near as good. Anyway, considering I'm still wearing basic armor, pretty much anything will still help. And speaking of basic armor, getting some upgrades was my next priority, but I was still struggling a bit to gather enough currency to purchase anything. Both the spare parts and the clan favor I am lacking in, so I spent a decent amount of time going to every single vendor that I could find to see what each and every one of them had. Eventually I settled on a major improvement in my body armor, both health and the actual look. It was nice to upgrade from this cloth shirt to something a little more protective, and I added this nice little mod which gives 6% to weak spot damage. Besides that, I couldn't really purchase a whole lot more. Instead, I decided to try my hand at crafting. You can get recipes from the vendors that unlock craftable weapons and armor, but they require different ingredients, and the quality of the ingredient matters. So I opened up my hunter's guide to search for and track down shelter fruit and nightleaf branch. The fruit was nearby, but it wasn't raining, so I had less than ideal quality, but I didn't have patience to wait for the rain. Plus, I didn't know how much that would actually affect the craft. Then, the nightleaf tree. These were a little harder to track down. It gives you the area where they grow, but I didn't know how to spot them specifically in the wild, other than having really good eyesight. That is until I noticed when you pin them and then use your Na'vi senses, they showed up highlighted in yellow, and that makes it a lot easier to find them. Since I didn't get the other ingredient in optimal conditions, I figured I'd try to get this one that way. I can't make it rain, but I can pass time. So I went back to a campfire, passed the time until it was raining, so that I could go out and harvest the nightleaf branch in optimal conditions. Then I went back to craft myself the blazing longbow. I purchased a mod for it, then cooked some dinner, and now that I was powered up, I had more confidence to retry the stone processor Bravo, which I just failed multiple times. Oh, hello again. See if I cannot waste my shots this time. There we go, one down. This guy definitely sees me. Good night. Bro, you're looking the wrong way. I'm over here. You're dead. Another one. What? How is that barrel not blown up? There we go. It was time to get back to my main quest. I headed into the floating mountains to meet with Atua. While her father is still hesitant to fight the RDA, Atua knows well if we do not fight, we will lose everything. And that fight begins with protecting the King Lore by destroying these aerial devices. I had a little bit of resistance, but took down what I needed, then met back with Atua. She distracted them while I went in to take down the hydro oil extractor Alpha. I cleared the extractor, but Atua was taken down by an RDA Scorpion. I had to track her scent to find and help her, and when I did, she was very badly injured. I hurried back to Home Tree to tell Katnat about his daughter and to get help, but just as I did, Talu, her Ikran, brought her home crashing through the roof. Naturally, Katnat tried to blame me, but Atua told the truth.
The sky people and their floating machines, they're strange.
After hearing this truth and seeing firsthand that the fight against the RDA is inevitable, Katnat finally agrees to stand beside us.
It is a call we will no longer ignore. Atua and I will stand beside you and lead our people together.
I headed back to Resistance HQ to let Priya and everyone else know about the Aranahe. Alma was there waiting for me, but in her real body, it was weird. While talking, we heard a noise outside. It was a warrior from the Zeswa clan, Nassim. She heard about the return of the Sadantu and had to see for herself, but she also heard about the Aranahe coming down from their home tree to join the fight against the RDA. She was surprised that I was able to convince them. They are regularly known as a peaceful tribe. The Zeswa clan in the Upper Plains too faced threats against the RDA and also wished to join the resistance. They seem much more willing than the Aranahe clan, but I'll have to make my way up to the north to reach their clan leader. Apparently my bond with Talisi is still young, and I need more experience for her to trust me for flying in these high wind areas of the upper plains. So I took her as far as I could, and then I headed into the windy lands of the upper plains. I was looking for a Zeswa kite to raise the signal to alert their clan that I had arrived. Nassim and another Zeswa met with me at the kite. It was a long journey back to their home, so first, I needed a way to travel. The Zeswa ride dire horses, and they showed me the way to bond with one of my own. I hopped aboard, and we rode. The direhorse bond is different than the Ikran. These are only temporary, but it sure beats walking. I traveled to their home and they welcomed me gracefully. They showed me around and told me about their clan. They are nomads, and they never stay in the same place for too long, which is why they leave kites behind to keep their way. But they also cherish an animal called the Zakru. It provides a milk they use that is essential to their way of life. They are sacred to them. I continued going around the camp learning more about the Zeswa way, and I got up close and personal with one of their Zakru. Hey, buddy. The Zeswa and the Sarantu used to be close and would regularly come together for celebration. They were all very excited to see a Sarantu again, and to signal my return to the rest of the clan, I raised the kites that the Sarantu used to raise a long time ago. When I met with Nassim and Mineng, they told me about the harsh winds of these lands, and that my Ikran needs to know I will keep her safe. To improve that bond, they sent me to connect with Ewa in the Chamber of Echoes. The Zeswa also hooked me up with a new weapon, this spear thrower. Before continuing in the upper plains though, I went back south to see what I could do about leveling up. I accepted a hunt quest. I had to track a fallen storm glider, then investigate the scene to figure out what happened. It was another instance of the RDA experimenting on the wildlife. I tracked the scent, and it led me to another feral creature, but this time, it was the mighty Thanator. And this thing was a tank. My assault rifle was barely even touching it. If it wasn't for my newly acquired spear thrower, this thing would have been the permanent end of me. Eventually, I made my way to the Chamber of Echoes. I connected with Ewa, and me and Talisi's bond grew strong enough for her to trust me in these windy lands. Just like the RDA were killing off the King Lore, the Zeswa feared they'd do the same to their beloved Zakru. But I was there to make sure that that didn't happen. I tracked down the nearby RDA camps to see if I could get some intel on what they were planning. Colonel Harding, who is Mercer's second-in-command, was talking about hunting camps. I found 2 of them hunting and trapping wildlife, so I went to take care of them and free the animals. Bro, you're free. Go. Go. I learned that Colonel Harding is just trophy hunting. They can't even eat the meat because it makes them sick. She is literally just killing for profit. I went back to tell the Zeswa, and they were ready to help me stop her. But I wasn't quite ready. I continued to struggle to keep up with the recommended power level for these quests, so I took some time to explore the world and find other ways to do so. I did some more shopping, or at least window shopping. My clan favor still isn't good enough to get anything super valuable, and then another quest. One to reconnect with my Sarantu roots by finding these Sarantu totems. I also did some exploring and harvesting. There is still so much to see and discover on Pandora. I still couldn't get to the recommended level of 9 for my next quest, but I went ahead with it anyways. I headed to their main hunting lodge to bring it down and see if we can get more intel on Harding's activities. Once I got inside, I learned that Colonel Harding has discovered a huge stash of Zakru bones and is trying to acquire it. But she's actually doing this at the dismay of Mercer. He wants her to focus on the RDA's main mission, and he calls this some little treasure hunt of hers. But if I knew Harding, she's just as, if not more ruthless than Mercer, so stopping her at all costs is necessary. I headed deeper inside to sabotage the facility. Once I took it down, Nassim and Mineng showed up. I told them about Harding's plan, and they knew where she might be headed next. Nassim went to gather the warriors to stop Harding's poaching once and for all. On my way, I stopped off at a powered-down field lab used by the Resistance. These are located all over and have been shut off in fear of the RDA discovering them. But as we fight them, I can power them back up and get myself some loot in the process. Also, a place to stash my overflowing inventory. I had a pretty good buildup of resources from all the harvesting, so I checked the crafting station at the field lab to see what I could make. I upgraded my spear thrower for a pretty significant upgrade. In my flight path to my destination was another Sarantu grounds where I could learn a new skill, so I stopped off. They show clearly on the map, but they can sometimes be kind of hard to find. I spent a long time searching for it, before finally finding a cave entrance. About damn time. Then I made my way through the windy cave to connect with Awa, and I learned the Ghost Strike skill, 30% more stealth damage. Back at Resistance HQ, I got myself an extended magazine for my assault rifle, and slowly I was getting my level up. Currently it's still at an 8, but my main quest mission is at a 9. But before I met back with the Zeswa, I wanted to test out my upgrades, and see if I could snag a few more in the process, and get powered up. I sought an RDA dredger site, and took it down pretty easily, and I got some decent items too. But it was only a level 8 site, which is my current level. So I went off to find something even more challenging, a level 12 RDA oil drilling site. And this was gonna take some skill. Skills that I apparently do not have. After multiple attempts, I realized I'm just way too underpowered and nowhere near skilled enough to get this done. Even with my upgraded weapons and armor, they were doing minimal damage to the enemies, and the enemies were destroying me in just a couple hits. I even tried going stealth, but there's just too many of them, and I simply do not have the patience. So after a colossal failure, I once again looked to leveling up. I had 8 skill points sitting there waiting for me to dish out, so I upgraded some things there. I needed some confidence back after feeling defeated, so I went back out to take down something more on my level. I went to the gas extraction plant Alpha, a level 8, and went back to my run and gun approach. This one, much easier. I took it down a lot quicker and then collected a nice handful of loot. I grabbed my loot, equipped my goods, and then it was time to head to the Zakru graveyard in the Weeping Gorge to try and stop Colonel Harding. I met with Sasul, the burden carrier, who was burdened with keeping these ancient wind flutes tuned. They are important for the Zakru and help with their grief when they return to visit the Zakru graveyard. I warned Sasul of the RDA and impending danger, but he was far too invested in his task of tuning the flutes. But the Zeswa needed him back home, so I offered to take care of this task for him so that he could return to his clan to prepare to take down Harding. I climbed my way up through the cliffside to tune the flutes. There were a few RDA here, but Colonel Harding has not arrived yet. I was able to make it all the way to the top to tune the final flute, and just as I did, Priya radioed to warn me of an incoming signal. I spotted Colonel Harding's convoy flying overhead, but they did not come to the graveyard like we thought they would. They went somewhere else. Me and Talisi took off to track it down, but when I finally found them, it was too late. They took out one of the Zeswa camps and killed Pasuk, the Zakru I met earlier. Minyang was there mourning, but with fury in her eyes. She told me to ready my people. The Zeswa were ready to release their fury on the RDA. As I headed that way, I checked in with some of the others about all that has been going on. Teylan is still hesitant about everything and still seems to be the most naive about all that is happening. Sotlek continues to remind me that Elma, while trying to help, is still not Na'vi and wants to make sure I'm embracing what it means to be a child of Pandora. I met with the others and we laid out a plan. Sotlek hooked me up with a new short bow and I made my way to the RDA extractor plant. This facility is one of their larger ones, and if we can take this down, it'll cause a major disruption for them. But it's a massive facility, and it's going to take a little more than what I've been doing so far. The plan was to have the others distract them while I make my way inside to destroy it.
Oh, this one's a little more complex. Let's hope it's something good. Oh! A shotgun! There it is! Yes, there it is. Damn, this thing is powerful. 140 damage. Alright, let's see what it can do. It's got some decent range. I need to find a mech, though. Yeah, this thing is insane. Once I took it down, I confronted Mercer and Harding together. Turns out Mercer was pissed at Harding for her little side gig trophy hunting because that led us right to their front door. He knew they lost the facility and told them to evacuate or be left behind. Unfortunately, she got out of there before I could get to her. But I wasn't out of the clear yet. I had to destroy a few more things to put this facility out of commission for good.
Once it was destroyed, I headed back to the Zeswa camp to meet up with Elma and the others. The Zeswa were relieved to put an end to Colonel Harding's trophy hunting scheme, but they know now the endless destruction the RDA will continue to cause unless they are stopped. Minyang told me to carry the flame of our victory with me in hopes of inspiring other tribes to join the fight, and they agreed to officially join the resistance. So, some real life time passed. Like a lot of time, like months. And I tend to forget everything when that happens. Not just the story, but all the mechanics. So, in order to freshen my memory, I wanted to take some time to do some easier quests and refamiliarize myself with this world. I met with an Aranahe clan member who was scoping out some shady business with the RDA. Everything they do is shady, but this group specifically was being really secretive. Lure showed me a cave where they were attempting to hide something. I took them down and then headed into the poisonous cave. They thought the poison would cover it, but Lure gave me something to withstand that. It was a cache of stolen Na'vi artifacts. Likely another group of soldiers trying to make a quick buck attempting to sell them off. But I took care of business, and I returned the artifacts to Lure. Then off on another hunting quest. There were more pharaohs to take down. I made my way east of the High Peak Lab in the Rising Spires domain, and tracked their scent. My level may not be all that high, but my shotgun is still a beast. I took down the pharaohs like they were nothing. Back at the clan home, I dropped off some items to complete a clan contribution, and I got a nice little upgrade to my arm guard from it. Then I went around to every vendor, checking up on all that I could get. I had forgotten who I had been to, and who had what goods. And since I was only level 10 and the next main quest was 12, I tried to find any ways to level up before I continued on. I got what I could, but ultimately I was still in need of some major upgrades to bring up my level. After that recent victory against the RDA, the Resistance was holding a party. It was also our birthday, as they called it, but it was the anniversary of the day that we escaped. So even though our fight is just beginning, we felt we deserved a little time to celebrate our progress. I met back at the Resistance HQ to join everyone. I spoke with Teylan and helped him set up some party lights. He's still the most comfortable here at HQ with the humans, but he seems happy. Then, Billy Nash, who is a former RDA soldier, and I've met him before. Nor and Sotlek seem to be enjoying themselves. This is probably the most I have seen Nor relax since everything has happened. It was good to see him in positive spirits. Ritnella was enjoying herself as well. She was snacking on some of Jin's food.
I think you just ate too much of everything, Ritnella.
I'm fine. I just need a second.
And then Alma had something to tell me, so I went to meet her out on the roof. She seemed very happy that we have been thriving now that we were free of Mercer, but Nor and her continue to have friction. Alma feels like she's one of us because we want the same thing, but Nor continues to remind her that she is not. He questions her and where she was when Mercer was abusing us as children.
Where was your protection when Harding forced me to hold a gun and broke my fingers around the grip? Or when Mercer had Teylan beaten for wetting the bed? The bruises took weeks to heal. He never liked a mess.
But before she can answer, Priya radioed in. The RDA found us. The surprise attack caught us all off guard. I had no idea how many made it all alive. They captured me and locked me up. When I woke up, I immediately tried to make my escape. Just as I was looking for a way to get out, I heard a friendly voice on the speaker. It was Billy Nash. Somehow he made it back in and was helping me escape. I grabbed a radio so that we could communicate, and I continued making my escape. He told me that he convinced them to let him back into the RDA. Seemed a little sketchy, but I don't have a choice now. I kind of have to trust him. I snuck around through the vents, staying crouched and hidden, while Billy guided me to the security room. I met up with Billy and I continued to question how he was able to convince the RDA to let him back in, but he continued to avoid the topic, and he tried to get us to hurry along because we don't have much time. I continued on following his advice to escape, but he warned me about some bad news. They were tracking another resistance location, but there was no time to warn them. The only option now was to take down this aircraft carrier that I was a prisoner on. So Billy guided me to the cooling system so that I could take it out. Stealth? Not my style, and my patience was really tested, but I eventually navigated my way to the storage room where they kept my gear. Billy finally came clean. He told me the only way to spare his life was to give me up. Pretty shitty, but in a life or death situation, it was kind of understandable. Anyway, I forgave him because he was here now, doing right by helping me escape. I got to the hangar, but the doors were locked. Mercer and Harding were tracking me. It was going to take Billy some time to unlock the doors. I just had to survive. Let's go. Let's go, 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 go. Let's just run for it. Go, 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 go. Once the doors were unlocked, I just barely made it out alive. The place was coming down and Mercer and Harding already evacuated. I told Billy I was coming to get him so that we could escape, but he informed me that he had to stay behind to override the final cooling system manually, and that he wasn't going to make it in time. I tried to convince him that I could get him, but he shut it down, and the place started going. I had 20 seconds to escape. It was an honorable final act for Billy Nash. Once out, I still had to escape the RDA searching on the ground. But when I was clear, I contacted Priya. She was happy to hear I was alive. She and the others thought I had gone, but Teylan was missing. She said he had ran off into the forest when they were escaping. Priya told me about the Resistance HQ's secret location that they have moved to, and gave me the coordinates so that I could meet up with them. But first, I had to see if I could find Teylan. I contacted him on the radio, and he was very scared. Something was going on.
Teylan, are you there? Are you injured? Teylan, talk to me. Where are you? I can come and bring you back to the Resistance.
No, not there.
Okay. Where do you want to go?
It doesn't matter. Nothing matters now.
Everyone's worried about you, Teylan. I'm worried about you.
You're gonna be angry. You'll hate me too. I did this.
You can't blame yourself.
But I am to blame. He said nobody would die. He said.
Who said?
We talked on my radio. He told me we could be together again. Like a family. And so, I told him when the party was happening.
Wait, Mercer? You told Mercer things about us?
He needed to know when to arrive, so he could keep the soldiers away.
Let me come get you.
No. I don't belong there anymore. I have nobody now.
Teylan? Teylan!
Yep, so Teylan gave us up. Mercer has been manipulating him since the beginning, and he truly thought that Mercer was going to help. I told Ritnella because I knew she's the only one who would understand. But for now, we decided to give Teylan some space and to keep this quiet from everyone else. We hope he returns when he's ready. I climbed my way up through the clouded forest to rendezvous with the Resistance. I stopped in to connect with Ritnella. She was happy to see me alive, but her spirits were low after the attack. She was especially concerned about being in the Kametir tribe's territory. They were said to be untrustworthy. I made my rounds, checking in on everyone. Alma's avatar was badly injured and gonna need some help to heal. There were a lot of deaths and a lot of injuries, and the morale was pretty low. But I discovered something that gave me a jolt of happiness. Finally, I found some weapons and armor that would actually bring my power level up to where it needs to be. This stuff was significantly better than what I had or could find anywhere else. I don't know where the Resistance has been hiding this stuff all this time, but I knew exactly what I had to do next. The problem was I barely had any spare parts. One of the reasons is I used them for crafting ammo for my sling, and I burned through mine, taking down the RDA. But also, I really don't know of a good way to get them, so I had a new mission: figure out how. I knew that you can always find them in these yellow crates at RDA sites, but I didn't know the best way to get a lot in a short amount of time. I figured the RDA facility should have a bunch. I went to do another pollution quest. I was still underpowered for this one, but I feel my skills are slowly improving, and finding this rocket launcher sure helped as well. Once I took it down, I noticed something. It put me in a different spot, and right in front of a door that opened right after the cutscene. And this room was loaded with loot. Firstly, a massive increase to my assault rifle. This thing was basically twice as good, and single-handedly brought my power level up to 12, which is where I wanted it to be. But it also had the spare parts I was looking for. And that actually got me thinking, were these rooms at every RDA station I took down that I just didn't notice them before? Turns out, yup, that's exactly the case. I passed by loads and loads of loot from taking down multiple stations because I ignored the opening door right in front of my eyes every single time. I was hoping I could at least go back and it would all still be there. But first, found another way to get the spare parts. I flew up to take down one of these sky platforms. It was a very quick and simple process, but but you only get one spare part from it. Doesn't seem like a very efficient way to get them because I needed about 50. I headed back to one of the facilities I cleared long ago. The overgrowth was clear and the place was obviously abandoned, but when I arrived, a fresh squad of RDA dropped in. I annihilated them with my new assault rifle. I just melted these guys. And then I went to check if my loot was there. Sure enough, it was there waiting for me. I definitely could have used this stuff earlier on, but I knew I had to go around now and collect all the spots that I had missed because I was still looking to gather the spare parts mostly. I stopped off at a field lab while out to turn on the power just because it was in the area, and I'm really glad I did. Once I turned on the power, which literally took like 30 seconds, I got access to a spare parts crate with 4 parts in it. These field labs are all over, and it is much faster to turn on the power here than to take down a whole RDA facility, which still only gives about 10 spare parts even in the loot room. So this was the best way for me to gather spare parts quickly. First though, I made my rounds to pick up all my leftovers. Then, because I was feeling real good about my power level, I wanted to take down another facility to see how I stack up. My new assault rifle is a monster, and my new armor helps so much for survival in these firefights. I was actually starting to feel capable of taking down these higher level facilities. Once I got my loot from Horizontal Miner Charlie, I went to find another field lab to quickly snag some more parts. I checked in with the clans to see if they had anything else I could get. I had a bunch of clan favor and I was able to get a slight upgrade to my headpiece, but the real upgrades were still at the Resistance HQ, where I still needed more spare parts. So right back out to power up more field labs, take down some RDA facilities, and collect more ancestor skills. Until I finally had enough spare parts to get myself what I was after, a chest guard, bringing mine from 50 health to a 150, a massive upgrade. And now for the first time I was actually overpowered for the recommended power level, and I really like that. Also, a new bow that might actually be more powerful than my assault rifle. Now that I was powered up, I was ready to speak with Nor to continue our quest, to see if we could contact the Kametir tribe. Nor mentioned they are not untrustworthy, they are just a reclusive tribe. He said they are expert healers and could potentially help us heal our injured, but their home is hidden and it will be difficult to contact them. He remembers as a child where I could potentially find them, so I followed his directions. He gave me the location where they used to meet, but not of their home. However, it was abandoned. If I was going to find them, I'd need to continue my search further. Here I was able to track down another Kametir site in the Stone Cloud Valley. I investigated the area and it appeared someone was here hunting. I repaired the trap to attract the target, and a Na'vi appeared, alongside a feral Thanator. I took down the Thanator easily because my shotgun is still super OP, and I met up with the person I just saved. They, just like all the others, were surprised to see Sadentu again, then proceeded to warn me about the Yava, a poisonous gas that appeared after the Sadentu disappeared, and has taken over this land. I learned that they are the Kametir, but they warned me that their Sahik Anufi has been forbidden to see anyone. However, an exception might be made because, well, I'm a Sadentu. This person was named Okul, and they decided to help me and tell me where I could find their home. Me and Talisi flew out to the Hollows to find the Kametir. When I arrived, I was not at all welcomed by Mokasa, who is their leader. He is convinced that I am not Sadentu and I am just an imposter, and he told me to leave this place immediately. But some of the others spoke to me on the side, saying that they do not all agree with his ways, and they wanted to help me find Anika. So I spoke with Satne. She was surprised the Sadentu was so openly visiting. Apparently, the Kametir feel responsible for the death of the Sadentu. I'm not sure why, but I'll have to figure out. Their Tsahik was lost in her own darkness, as she put it. But Satne felt a Sadentu might bring her back, so she told me where I could find Anika. When I got to her, she barricaded herself inside her home. Her guard, Zamil, knew she was in need of help and told me if I could find myself a way inside, that she would not try to stop me. I triggered the flower trapdoor and I headed in. Anufi is supposed to be one of the greatest healers on all of Pandora, but she has been broken. She is convinced that it was her that killed all of the Sadentu. She created something that tried to heal them, but thought it only caused death and wiped us all out. I tried to tell her that it wasn't her, but she only believes one thing. I went back out to speak with Zamil. She too seemed to be hiding something. There's something else going on here that I'll have to figure out. but she did tell me where I could find another healer. I went off to find him, but his workshop in the Hollows was empty, and it looked to be that way for some time. I continued to track him from evidence he left behind. He was using a dangerous plant called sick eyethorn to make something. I tried to find some to see if I could find him nearby, and when I did, I also discovered a Kametir scent trail. I tracked it, but the Yava was everywhere. Talisi did not like it, and so I had to travel on foot. I tracked it down to what looked like an abandoned lab. I snuck my way inside and was surprised to see Okul there. Sol was Okul's mentor and was working on a way to clear the Yava. Okul was there hoping to gather his stuff and continue his work. They said Sol was convinced the Yava held the truth about what happened to the Sarentu, but the Yava has filled the lab and I would need to power on the ventilation system to gain access. The system was missing parts, so I had to go to the nearest RDA facility to see if I could gather them. This was one of the toughest facilities I faced off yet, but my gear and my weapons are so overpowered at this point, it was a pretty quick process. Also, my stealth skills have slightly improved. When I gained access to the loot room at the end, I got more loot because I was stealthy enough to stop them from sounding the alarm, which meant they left in a hurry and couldn't grab their goods, so yay for me. I got the parts I needed and then I returned to the lab. It still took a lot of navigating and rewiring to get the power back online, but eventually the ventilation system turned on and the Yava cleared out. Inside I noticed a container with the tap symbol on it, but I was unfamiliar with what Con 1 meant. It had me concerned, and I wanted to seek out more of these crates. Okul was able to whip up an antidote for the Yava, so now I could travel through it without dying. I told Nor about the tap Con 1 symbol, and he too was concerned. He told me that's what he sees in his nightmares. We knew finding this Con 1 would give us answers to our past. So I went off to find another location Okul mentioned. There might be more. After I investigated, I found the black box from a downed scorpion. I was able to get coordinates. I tracked it down through the Yava, and I entered the facility. What I found inside was horrific. It was a prison, cages, restraints, children's makeshift bedding, disinfectant stations. They treated us like animals, so I had to find out more. Deeper inside, I was stalked by a Thanator, but I made my way to the central computer to figure out what exactly happened here. All I found was a recording of Elma. It was just before she met the Sarentu for the first time. She seemed so excited and hopeful about connecting with us and building a relationship with our tribe. But she also mentioned Mercer was leading the party. This could not have gone well. But that was the end of the recording. I had to keep learning more. I must have triggered an alarm when I broke in here, so the RDA showed up and I had to escape.
This dude is legit just dancing. He's just dancing.
When I got out, I headed toward a location I discovered that could potentially give me more answers. The Circle of Songs, a location the Sarentu and Kametir used to gather together to share stories and gifts. When I got there, everything was left behind, like everyone left in a moment's notice. But the best part, I found Anufi's vials, unopened, which means the Sarentu never even took the medicine she was convinced that wiped them all out. Instead, I found a ton of spent bullets. Clearly, the RDA was here. And then, I remembered.
Torola yungar lora waitele mangim te vurit ne yapi vei.
I knew it to be true. It was the RDA, not the Kametir that wiped out the Sarentu. I had to return to them to tell them the truth, but I also knew that someone from the Kametir had to have helped the RDA find us. I returned with the news, but Mokasa immediately tried to convince them that I was a liar, until I showed them the evidence. The proof they were looking for, the unopened vials. Okul drank the vial to prove it was not poisoned, and Anufi was back.
How did you know they would not harm you?
Our people have always been healers. I never stopped believing that.
She turned to Mokasa. It was him who found the evidence. Anufi bonded with him and made him show her the truth. He gave up the Sarentu location to the RDA. He said it was his children or theirs. But this was a shameful act to them, and Anufi banished him from the tribe. They were grateful that I have showed them the truth. Anufi agreed to help our injured back at Resistance HQ, and the Kametir officially joined the Resistance. Anufi was headed to the Resistance HQ to heal our injured, but she needed my assistance. I had to hunt down a mere deer for their medicinal fatty meat, so I checked my hunting guide. Luckily, they were nearby. They are fast, and I'm still a terrible hunter, but I got what I needed. And then to meet Anufi at HQ. She was able to bring Elma's avatar back, but when she did, she recognized her, and things got heated.
You led Mercer to us!
Mercer's school. The ambassador program. What's supposed to save lives. Both Na'vi and human. I only tried to help.
You stole our lives, like you stole everything else.
I tried to stop them.
No! Get off me! Let it bleed.
Do not become what you hate, Nor.
Listen. It needs to die.
Let her speak.
Why? She is the reason for every bruise and broken bone. She murdered our families. Ahati!
I never meant to hurt you.
Then tell us why.
You know why! This is what you wanted, yes? Revenge against the humans.
Revenge? This is not revenge. You are being consumed. Where does it end? These are our allies. Would you kill them all?
Before Alma's avatar died, we brought her to Awa to finally see the truth.
This is where Mokasa told me to find the Salantu. But...
Hey, no time for cold feet now.
We're just talking to them. Do we need this many soldiers? No. Let me talk to them. What are you doing?
Don't let them run. We'll find them in the
The
forest.
Na'vi will never forgive us. Never.
Here, take this.
Don't worry, little one. I'll protect you.
She had every hope and belief that she was there to help, but she was so naive. With a man like John Mercer leading the charge, there was never any chance for a peaceful encounter. And Elma finally saw the truth on that day when Mercer slaughtered the Salantu and stole us as children. And since that day, Elma vowed to protect us from Mercer, but it was protection from inside the RDA, unlike now when she is fighting against them. At the funeral for her avatar body, Rinella took things pretty hard.
All this time, I thought you a friend, a mentor, someone who only wanted to protect us. Ahati knew our families would never abandon us, and you let us believe it all the same.
I know there is nothing I can say to make this better, but I promise
Your promises are worthless. Ashes in your mouth.
Rinella! Please!
And then I was faced with a choice: confront the past or let it die. And honestly, it was not easy. But ultimately, the past is dead, and there is only one way forward. All that matters now is stopping John Mercer, and Elma is a valuable ally in this fight. Priya had radioed me to warn me of a massive fissure in the upper plains. I went to meet Anka to figure out what it was. She showed me the drill that was likely causing it, and right on cue, it struck again. The stone arch fell right over the hunting lands of the Zeswa. I ran down to search for survivors. It was a sad sight. I knew I had to stop this drill before it could strike again. I raced my way up the cliff, trying to find a path inside. And this thing was massive. I worked my way up to destroy the drill. But this time, it wasn't just about destroying it. We needed to know what Mercer was planning, if we were going to stop him once and for all. I had to get data from the nearby platforms that housed this massive drill. I went over to Drill Platform Alpha to access the control center. Then, I had to defend it until Priya could finish the download. They sent an army, but I was equipped to handle it. I took the data back to Anka so that she could analyze it. I had to continue helping Priya at various RDA sites, gathering data from personnel left behind on computers. Once I got it, she had to further analyze the data to uncover their plan. But in the meantime, we discovered more drilling sites. These ones were transmitting resource data to the RDA. To continue disrupting their operation, I had to shut these down as well, and blow some stuff up. The RDA was tracking Priya's transmission signal, and they went after her. I flew that way to see if I could help. When I got there, I took out the RDA, and Priya and her crew came out of the cave they were hiding in. She was able to uncover Mercer's plan. His goal was to literally drain every last resource, killing off the planet and its inhabitants in the process. We knew that was the goal, but now we knew how he was going to do it. Everyone was waiting at HQ. All of the clan leaders gathered together to create a plan to stop Mercer before it was too late. The plan was as simple as always: destroy the drill. But this facility was more heavily guarded than any of the others, so instead of risking any more lives, we thought we could do this by shutting it down remotely. But first I'd have to take down these sensor devices, so that Alex can hack into the system remotely. The first couple, no problem. I just had to destroy its defenses and let Alex hack in while I stood by to little resistance. But the defenses started getting tougher and tougher as they caught on to us. At this tower, I took down what I needed so that Alex could hack in, but before he could get into their system, they detected us and shut us out. Alex said someone is physically doing this. If I can make it to the control room, I should be able to see who it is and find and stop the person blocking him so that he can gain access. I flew off to the facility, forced my way in, and found the control room.
Oh, wonderful. Finally. The family reunion moment we all dreamed of.
Why are you helping him? Why do you still care what he thinks?
Teylan's a smart boy. He saw you were on the losing side.
What are you doing? No, please!
What a failure you turned out to be. Your sister had more fight in her. Such a shame she didn't make it.
He said no one would get hurt. People died, Teylan. I thought we were family. He said, I just wanted us to stop fighting. I don't care what you wanted, and neither does Mercer. You'll never be one of them.
No escape this time. Leave it to the big boys, Teylan.
I was actually surprised to see Teylan there, and pretty upset. That is until I realized he gave me something. The RDA was now tracking Alex from their signal. I busted out and raced to help them. After I took out the RDA searching for them, I spoke with Anka and Alex. Alex said the hack was worthless. He couldn't get anything from it because the connection was cut too soon. But I told them about Teylan, and that he gave me something that might help us. Anka said she'd take a look. I went back to HQ to discuss what happened. Turns out, Teylan gave us a map of the drilling site and a location to a hidden entrance. But there was skepticism. He already betrayed us once. This could be a trap. Ritnella has been coming into her own as a leader. We think she'd make a great Sahik for the Sadantu when this is all over. But for now, we trusted her to make the right call. She, like myself, believes in Teylan and decided that we have to try this secret path and trust that it's not a trap. The clans were all ready to fight. It was time to make our assault. I headed to the location of the hidden entrance, and I climbed through the caves to gain access. First, I'd have to take down the base's defense system so that the rest of the clans could breach the base walls. I started sneaking through the base, but it wasn't long before I was ambushed. I had to fight my way out against the toughest amp suits that I faced off against yet. But this was a setup, a trap. Just as I was about to give up on Teylan, all the amp suits were mysteriously electrocuted. I went up to the control room to see who it was. Sure enough, Teylan was there, and he was helping me. This wasn't a trap. He truly meant it. He wanted to help and make things right again. For Ahadi, he says. So he stayed here to keep giving me access through the base, through the computers, so that I could reach Mercer. With Teylan on our side, this became much easier. I got access to the main gate and I opened the doors. I continued on taking down more defenses so the rest of the tribes could gain access and help fight. I lowered the bridge for the Zeswa clan, and I took down the anti-air cannons for the Aranahe and their Ikran. We heard on comms that Colonel Harding was preparing for the retreat. Their general made an executive order, but Mercer was pissed. He tried to order her back as the base was literally blowing up before his eyes. Victory was within our grasp, but it wasn't over yet. He knew he was defeated, and in his desperation, he attempted to fire the drill anyways. I went down to stop the drill from being fueled so that it couldn't dig any deeper. But once I did, in his final act of desperation, he was going to blow the charge. Even though it wasn't very deep, the consequences would have been devastating. The only hope now was to raise the drill high enough for it to explode above ground and minimize the damage. I had to fight off his personal guard, and then I got to the control room and raised the drill. But Mercer was still alive, and he was trying to lower the drill again. I had to go confront him once and for all.
If you had shown half as much initiative at school, we'd have gotten somewhere.
It's over, Mercer. We locked the bomb in place. This will all be destroyed.
You're such a waste of breath. You see this, Teylan? This is what failure looks like.
Yes, sir.
Lower the charge. Time to watch your world break.
Teylan, remember!
Are you serious? This is how you choose to go out? With a children's song? Teylan!
We are not children! We are Na'vi!
Doesn't matter. You can't stop this.
But I can't stop you, Mercer. Pandora will renew herself, and in a minute, you'll just be ash on her wings. Teylan! Teylan, let's go! I thought...
George! It's happening!
I know you must hate me.
It's finally over. The RDA is still out there.
But we are free. He's gone.
Mercer will never hurt anyone again.
And we can move on now. As a new family, right? Can we? You followed your path long enough. It's time we follow our own.
We must rebuild what we've lost.
And find a way to be Sarentu again.
Even me.
I'm proud of you. I'm glad I got to see it. The scars of the past will not shape our future. But allies will always be welcome. Whatever comes next, we will be ready. The Sarentu are no longer lost to silence. We will share our stories again across Pandora. Our future. Ours to make. Together.